Hello, everyone.
Hello. Good morning,
I
Kenneth. Morning, everybody.
so good to be here with all of you. So we had a phenomenal session this morning. It feels still a little bit like my head is spinning after that session, Tabitha.
Sure. I think we didn't even join immediately after today's session because you and I just had to take a moment and be like, wow, that was one of the moments. I think when we're going to sit on the stoop with Andre and Rizaldo one day, we're going to be like, do you remember that one time? Like often we have those conversations, Kenneth, because we've known each other for so long. I think this is going to be one of those days that we're going to be just wow, God showed up
Mm.
and it was mind blowing. So, those of
Mm.
you who missed it, that's why you wake up early on a 6 o'clock on a Saturday because you just never know how God's going to show up. And I was super tired this morning. I was like, oh, and I'm just so glad I showed up, Kenneth. I don't know how you feel.
No, it was phenomenal. So the first thing we started off talking about was bravery and boundaries. And it's all about setting realistic, flexible boundaries and how essential that is for emotional health and also in relationships. And also the difficulty to implement and maintain these boundaries. So we started speaking about that. And actually, I made a call this morning that we have to all sort out our boundaries. Otherwise, we all keep on going in circles. We don't get anywhere. And coincidentally, it sounds like one of the ladies on the program started working on a boundary course, which is something that we can implement and that we will be implementing on a Saturday morning super soon. But then it got a bit worse. We start talking, it got a bit worse, not worse, but tougher. We start talking about honesty's healing power, the healing power of honesty. What happened there?
I think obviously you've changed the preamble a little bit. So those of you that don't know what the preamble is, it's just something Kenneth reads to us in the beginning, telling us, if you don't like something, report it to management. We had to be raw, we had to be honest. And he's added something recently. It says, be damn honest. So that's obviously been challenging over the last few weeks because I mean, you don't want everyone to know your stuff. And this morning we actually started off on a light note. I think everybody was just, speaking about when one of the ladies said about boundaries, and she was saying how she felt yesterday that her son was on Xbox and this and that, and it makes you feel like a bad mother. And then I decided to share a few of my failures as a mother, being trying to dictate the outcome of your children's future, because that's what mothers do. It's your job to make sure that no one hurts your kid, that your kid does well at school. And we were just having some light moments and sharing some of our disastrous failures as a mothers, and then telling the next person, you see, you're not so bad because I did this, and then then everyone sort of feels a little bit better. And obviously, by doing that, I think we created the platform to go deep. And that's obviously then when an incredible woman in our organization then just shared where she was at. And what stood out the most for me, Kenneth, and I think all of us, every human being goes through this, that, I don't want to speak about me because, am I that important? Am I that? Is my problem worse than your problem? Everyone's suffering. We're living in a tough world. The world is difficult. Everybody's got problems. So, me raising my problems, is that making me selfish? Is self indulged? Like, am I making me more than somebody else? Because there's other people out there with worse situations. And I think that what was happening this morning was exactly the heart of God. Be who you are, where you are at, and I'm going to meet you there. And I think that was the heart of God this morning. And I loved seeing that because it's an uncomfortable situation, right? We don't want to be vulnerable, we don't want to be raw. But
Mm.
when we speak, even the word says there's power in your words. Doesn't matter what's coming out your mouth, there's power in that. And I think what was done this morning for me personally, and I'm speaking purely from my view, was just like, it's okay, Tabitha. It's going to be okay. You're also going to get through this, and that's what touched me this morning.
Mm. Yeah, and when you talk about God, it was like, I don't know how to explain it, but it was like God was flowing. It was like he was like emotionally present, like not emotionally, spiritually, but sitting in the pain of the people who shared, and he drew the pain out of everyone and brought it together. There's a scripture that says that God collects our tears in a bottle. That's a bit weird, God. Jeez. Collecting people's tears in a bottle.
Tears to collect on a daily basis. I mean, it's a hard job. I don't think that's an easy job. I don't want to be the one having to sit with that bottle, But it's true what you say, Kenneth, because, even though we went from this light, funny moment, laughing at all our failures, to going into this very deep moment, it was like God was setting us up, right? It was like, because we were able to share, some of the failures. But then when we got really deep, it was like that spoke to each woman in that session. Like, I don't think there was one person in that session that didn't feel like, I've been there. I've been hopeless. I've wanted to give up.
They actually said
I'm
it.
not good enough. Yeah.
They actually said it. Like, I've been there. I felt that as well. Exactly.
And I mean, the thing is, for me, the power in what was done this morning is that now it's out there. Now you start rebuilding. Now you're going to people are going to rally around you because they know where you're at. And I think that that's what so many of our viewers could be feeling this morning. So lonely, so isolated. I don't want to tell another person my problem. I told the pastor, he told me, I'll pray for you. I've told my mom and dad, they just like, you're going to get through this. Wherever you are at today, it's okay. And God will meet you there. And I think that for me is what I'm taking away with today's session, Kenneth, that I still sort of feel like a little bit raw inside with some things that were said, because I've also been there. And sometimes you feel guilty sharing it, right? Because people sort of have an expectation, like, oh, you got a job, be happy. You can put food on the table, be happy. But it's not, it's deeper than that, isn't it? I don't know if you sometimes feel that way. Like when you're sharing something, people are sort of like, oh, no, but there's a war going on in the world, I get that. But, the God we serve also sees where we are at. And I mean, sometimes people downplay their emotional situations. But then I often say to people, it's okay. And I think I learned this from you, that, the way you are feeling right now, it's okay. It's not insignificant. You don't overshadow it by being like, oh, but I do have a job and things are going well and I do have a great husband. You can still feel lonely and still feel sad with all of those things in your life, can't you? And you taught me that, Kenneth. You taught me meet people where they are at. It's okay. It's okay if everything looks great on the outside, because it's okay to feel lonely. You can sit in a room with extraordinary people and you could be extraordinary, but you don't feel that way, right? So, I mean, I've felt like that. I'm sure you've felt like that before.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That rawness, the realness. But I think we'll conclude the meeting there this morning. Like, this is really shaking me, and I feel the raw and the real and the pain. If anybody else is feeling like that as well, and you are alone and you need help, please do reach out to me. We're here to help, especially if you are being betrayed upon, whether you're a guy or a woman, doesn't matter. There's massive help available. And if you're stuck in some sort of sexual addiction, please reach out to me. Or if you know somebody that is stuck in a sexual addiction, please reach out to me. We're here to help. We do care. That's why we do this work. And I trust that we'll see more of each other in the sessions and hopefully sometimes live as well. And thanks, Tabitha. I hope you have a fantastic day.
Thanks, guys. Have an awesome day. Bye.